Eric Dubay is somewhat of a flat earth leader. His YouTube channel has 218,000 subscribers and he's loved and adored by many a flat earther. And recently I noticed a video of his that caught my eye and I could not resist having a look. The title of this video? The Real Reason You're Not a Flat Earther. Hello all and welcome along to another episode of Flat Earth Friday with me, Simon Dan. Thank you very much for joining me. First up, some exciting news. I have partnered up with Epic Desk to create an incredible desk mat just for all of you. Now this is a limited edition, by the way. It's only going to be available for a certain amount of time. But look, this is the old pad I used to use on my desk. I think you can safely say that my desk has had an epic upgrade. Have a look at this. This product is a premium product. There is no doubt about that. The mat feels great, the mouse runs over it lovely, and look at all that space I can use. Plus the design is superb. The whole thing screams quality. The stitching, the weight, the thickness, everything. The artistic team at Epic Mats have outdone themselves with the custom design as well. I wanted to show the Earth in all its glory and have a cheeky dig at flat earth at the same time, and I think this works brilliantly. The mat is 930 by 400 millimeters, which is 36.5 by 15.75 inches. Click the custom link below to get your taking out the trash Simon Dan desk mat. But remember, once they are gone, they are gone. You have until January the 1st to get yours. Click the link below. As I said, it will take you straight to the website so you can get yours now. Right, on with today's video, which, as I said earlier, is from Eric Dubay. He thinks he's found the real reason that most of us are not flat earthers. This should be interesting. Away we go.
What would it take to convince you that the Earth is not a spinning globe?
Good question. I think for starters it would require every single space agency on Earth to admit they were lying. Then I would need every single person who has seen the Earth from space to admit they were in on it too. After that, I think a photo from up near the dome looking down on the Earth, whereby we can see the countries spreading out from the North Pole and the ice wall around the edge, as per the Flat Earth map. That would probably be enough.
Do you think you could ever be convinced otherwise? Or are you so confident in this cosmology that nothing could change your mind?
Well, it's more that I'm so confident in the shape of our Earth that I'm confident there won't be any proof to prove otherwise. As I've said many times before, it is an established fact. It cannot be proven otherwise.
One of the main differences that pits flat earthers in stark contrast to globe believers is the fact that flat earthers have shown the capacity to consider new information with an open mind, and if necessary, admit that they were wrong.
Well, that's a load of rubbish. Flat earthers never admit they're wrong. They lie and then move the goalposts usually. Come on, Eric, even you can't believe what you've just said there, surely.
99% of all modern-day flat earthers were once globe believers themselves, and were subjected to the same mainstream media and public school indoctrination as everyone else. So what allows some to see past their confirmation bias and hinders others from ever even opening their minds to the possibility?
Well, I think it's a variety of things, but there's certainly an element of Dunning-Kruger going on. A little bit of research and they think they know more than people who've studied something for their entire lives. Additionally, some flat earthers are anti-authority, and they probably just like going against the mainstream for the sake of it. But in spite of that, the number one thing that causes flat earthers is a lack of education. And that's not always their fault, I will add, but it certainly is a reason.
There is one key characteristic, one personality trait that is particularly noticeable in flat earthers that is rarely seen in globe defenders. The more you pay attention to people on both sides of the issue, the more blatantly clear it becomes with time. This most obvious difference between those who accept and reject the flat earth is humility.
Are you for real? Humility? Eric Dubay, the self-obsessed yoga teacher who writes kids' flat earth books. Humble. Wow, I've heard it all now. But what about Nathan Oakley? Is this humility?
You come here and you talk about stuff that you literally don't even know the words you're using to describe. You tell us that it's ambiguous when it's abstract!
This is just pure and utter nonsense.
I can already hear the audible groans and see their eye globes rolling back in their sockets, but it's true. The main reason most people reject Flat Earth is because they lack the humbleness to accept that they might be wrong and cannot temper their egos long enough to truly listen to and fully consider the opposing side.
There is no ego involved, Eric. If you think the Earth is flat, you are wrong about so much stuff. So much science and physics and math that it's hilarious. No egos need to be protected here, my friend.
Deep down, they don't want to admit that they may have been duped, and so will continue to double and triple down on debunked explanations rather than opening their minds to new possibilities. Over the past decade, I have spoken with thousands of detractors and watched hundreds of hours of globe apologists making reaction videos to my 200 proofs Earth is not a spinning ball and other presentations.
And every single time you have been debunked, thoroughly, multiple times over. But I guess you're humble enough to realise that... Oh wait.
And the main behavior on display, consistently, without fail, is a smug, snarky, sarcastic, superior, holier-than-thou, arrogant attitude. Globe apologists tend to be so sure of their position that they rarely allow an entire sentence to be spoken before interrupting to regurgitate the explanations taught in their third-grade science textbooks.
Not all of the explanations are that simple, Eric, but you've sort of self-owned yourself there, buddy. You're basically saying that you don't understand third-grade kids' science books, aren't you? Oh dear.
The irony is that myself and other flat earthers are well aware of these explanations and can recite them too.
Yet you still do not understand them, do you?
The difference is that we are skeptical and open-minded enough to carefully consider alternative explanations before immediately jumping to such foregone conclusions.
Yeah, you see what confuses me here is, you say that you're skeptical, but then when researching Flat Earth, it appears that you're not. For example, when you saw someone say that the sun travels above an Earth-like disk in a circle, but they didn't tell you what powers it, or the physics involved, or how far away it is, or how big it is, you just went, yep, sounds fine.
Think back to when you were a child, first learning all of this. What did it actually take for you to believe in it back then?
Nothing, because I realised pretty quickly that as a species, we had this one down as established fact.
If you are truly honest with yourself, you first believed it because you were a young child, too naive to know any better, and your parents, teachers, and every other adult around you accepted it as fact.
And every parent and teacher worth their salt will make sure that they're only teaching facts. What did you do, Eric, as a kid when your parents told you to put food in your mouth to eat? Were you like, nope, let's try it up the nose instead. You can't control me.
In other words, our initial acceptance of heliocentric cosmology is more the result of argument from authority than from actual sound reasoning. Granted, we are given a few supposed proofs of the globe and told that flat Earth was a mistaken belief of our ignorant ancestors.
To be honest, Flat Earth is not even mentioned because it's so nonsensical.
But the main method of indoctrination is through simple omission. Students are only ever educated about one perspective, one possibility, and told it is the gospel truth.
I'll translate that for you. Established fact.
Through centuries of censorship, a wealth of information available on geocentrism and the flat Earth has been systematically silenced and hidden from academia.
You can literally buy books like that on Amazon, Eric.
Myself and other modern flat earthers, with the help of the internet, have recently brought dozens of incredible books long out of print back into the hands of young minds.
I don't think it was their minds that the print ended up in, Eric. Probably filed under B for bin.
The fact of the matter is that if students were given equal school time to study geocentric material as they are heliocentric, the globe would quickly lose its popularity and no longer enjoy its reign as an uncontested consensus cosmology.
I fundamentally disagree with that statement, Eric. I think that Flat Earth would be laughed out the classroom, I'm afraid.
I have personally been diligently studying geocentrism and the flat Earth for nearly 15 years now. I have read over 100 books and thousands of old newspaper and magazine articles on the subject. I have performed my own experiments and demonstrations to learn from personal experience, and have spoken to thousands of people from all walks of life on the matter.
That seems like a colossal waste of time.
Meanwhile, how many globe believers can say the same? How many of these adamant globe defenders have actually read an entire flat Earth book?
Well, you won't be surprised to hear that I've read two. One was The History of Flat Earth, and one was indeed Zetetic Astronomy by Samuel Rowbottom. I've also read several pamphlets from William Carpenter and John Hampden, two massive flat Earth proponents of the 1800s. And guess what? Everything you peddle, everything flat earthers today peddle, is the same recycled, long debunked nonsense.
How many have read 10? They will usually claim to have done their due diligence in researching flat Earth before rejecting it, but the reality is that none of them have really delved deep or done so with an open mind.
Just shown that I have, Eric. All nonsense, I'm afraid.
You must approach the subject without any bias or preconceived notions, and with the fresh eyes of a child, just like when you first learned the heliocentric globe model. It isn't easy to overcome a lifetime of propaganda. You must honestly humble yourself to the possibility that you have been fooled, and everything you were taught was a lie.
Okay, I will humble myself and restart Zetetic Astronomy. Yep, all nonsense.
Otherwise, even when you look, you won't see. When you listen, you won't hear. When you read, you won't comprehend. And when you think, you won't ponder. If you cannot first empty your cup, then it is impossible to refill it with pure water.
I feel like we'd be filling it with allegedly Dave's urine. I don't know.
If you cannot first unlearn what you were originally taught, then it is impossible to learn anything new contrary to it. If you cannot first clear your mind of heliocentric indoctrination, you will lack the discernment necessary to recognize the geocentric truth. You have been systematically fed a complex web of lies designed to make you reject your own common sense and lived experience of the world.
I'll translate again for all you folks. You have been taught established facts that are the culmination of 400 years of accelerated learning by our species.
You have been taught that this notion of flat Earth is something so ridiculous that it should only be laughed at, and that anyone advocating for it must be utterly unintelligent or completely crazy. So your immediate and confident rejection of the notion is no different than your leg extending when hit with a reflex hammer. Your exasperated eye rolls and permanent smirks were programmed into you, as was the list of questions that instantly roll off your tongue, like, but why would they lie? What does it matter? And where are the whistleblowers?
All excellent questions, of course. And what do you say to those questions? It's all about control. Nonsense.
All of these, and even more specific questions, like, why is Earth the only flat planet? Why isn't Polaris visible from Australia? And how does the Eratosthenes experiment work on a flat Earth? All have valid, sound answers from a geocentric perspective.
No, they don't. They have answers, but they're always ridiculous. And none of them work as other explanations. You have singular explanations for things, for phenomena that we see and experience. But often that answer does not work for another question, another phenomena or experience. You shift the goalposts again, every single time.
If you haven't already, please do me, yourself, and the world a favor by reading or watching my free, full video presentation of my latest book, Flat Earth FAQ.
No, thank you. But that does give me an idea. Stay tuned for that one. Right, well there we go. We're all done and dusted. More nonsense there from Prince Eric. Let me know what you think in the comments of how Eric did there and his video on why he thinks that none of us are flat earthers yet. But for now, as I said, we're all done and dusted for another Flat Earth Friday. Thanks so much for watching today. If you enjoyed it, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Hitting that thumbs up button too would be appreciated as well. And share if the feeling takes you too. Thank you. Just enough time to tell you again about my partnership with Epic Desk. Click the link in the description where you can buy your custom desk mat specially made for Simon Dan fans. I've been Simon Dan. Have yourselves a great day and I'll see you tomorrow for another Saturday session. See you then. Bye bye.